Hey, Mick.
Hey, Beau.
Hey, Kinzie.
Hey.
Hey, you guys ever heard this word elflock before?
No.
No, I have not.
Can you spell it?
ELFLOCK. This is if you have wavy hair and you wake up with it tangled and mangled. That's elflock. As though elves had tied it into knots during the night.
That makes sense, kind of.
Elflock.
Bedhead.
Do you ever have that problem, Beau? Beau, you have wavy hair.
I did have wavy hair. Yes.
Yeah.
Dare I say curly hair, Beau?
Mm-hmm.
Probably more curly than wavy. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
My wife has curly hair, very curly hair. If she wakes up and it's tangled, is that elflock?
Yeah.
Or is it wave only?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't know. We don't have enough context there.
We don't know. Kristopher?
I mean, you got to get a good satin pillowcase is what you got to get for that.
Yeah.
Elflock's gone after that.
When was your introduction to the satin pillowcase?
Well,
You clearly know something about this.
my grandmother had satin pillowcases when I grew up, and the bed that was my mom's old bed and that I would sleep in when my sister and I would spend the night, we loved it because it had the cold satin pillowcases. But then my mom got one for my wife for Christmas because I guess because Haley's hair is kind of it's wavy, I guess. I don't understand what it does, but she sleeps on it. I guess women sleep on them. What do you guys mind?
My teenage daughters have both recently invested in satin pillowcases, and they're like never going back to cotton or whatever.
There you go.
Your grandmother was either ahead of her time or is when satin bedding was in vogue.
I think it was probably in vogue.
Probably so.
Yeah, because I don't think they would have been my mom's, and she did not have curly or wavy hair.
Both of you guys still, to your credit, have great heads of hair.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Holding on for what little bit I got left. I'm hanging in there.
It's good.
It's real gray. I am saying that.
Crown of wisdom.
Something like that. I did have a lady at On Q that gave me my coffee over the Christmas time, referred to me as Santa Claus due to my gray hair and gray beard. That was a weird experience.
What was the tone?
She asked me how I wanted my coffee, and I said black, to which she said, "You don't want anything in your coffee?" And I said, "No, ma'am, just black." It was in the drive-thru. She went and got my coffee, asked me one last time if I wanted anything else in my coffee, to which I felt like that question had been asked and answered. But I referred to her again. I said, "No, I'm good. Black is great." She goes, "Well, here's your black coffee. Merry Christmas, Santa." And my beard was a little longer. My hair was a little bit longer. I don't know. I don't know if that was like either the greatest compliment or like the weirdest insult. I'm not really for sure. But she called me Santa, gave me my coffee, and I drove off.
Where was this again?
On Q at the drive-thru. I like On Q coffee.
For those that are outside of Oklahoma, On Q is a convenience store, right?
It's like a gas station.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is. It's kind of like it'd be like a Quick Trip, or I don't even know what the Texas equivalent is, Beau.
Well, you might know that Texas now has Buc-ee's, to which there is no equivalent. It is the best.
There is not. Yeah, I feel like it would be what some would describe as the tip of the spear.
Ooh.
When it comes to convenience store experience,
Mm-hmm.
the whole 9 yards.
What do you think was behind her revisiting the question?
I don't know. I don't know if I was the first person that had ever asked for black coffee in the drive-thru. I feel like that can't be the case, but she was thoroughly confused that I asked for it with nothing in it. And she was very perplexed by it. And her only thought to really get me good as I drove off, because I didn't take any cream or sugar in my coffee, was to refer to me as Pierre Noel.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but it sounds like it had a little bit of a dig.
Yeah.
It was dig tones. She was not wishing me a Merry Christmas. I think she was making fun of the fact that I have a gray beard and gray hair, and I looked like a young virgining Santa.
Wow.
I know, right? Weird.
That's a good story, though.
Weird experience. All that to say, my hair's pretty short and not wavy. The odds of an elflock being in my problem pretty narrow.
Welcome to Obsolete Vernacular with Mick, the Coach Hoggatt, Kristopher, the Captain Kinzie, and me, Beau, no nickname yet, Gatlin.
Can I say something, Kinzie?
Please.
You maybe grow one of the top 5 mustaches I've ever seen.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I would agree with that.
I get it from Chris Kinzie.
You are in Tom Selleck air when you grow a mustache.
I take that as a compliment. It's more upkeep than people think, though. I will say that.
How so?
Well, I never feel compelled to do too much grooming to the mustache part of my beard when I have a beard, but when that's all that's there, you feel more self-conscious about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I caught myself over grooming multiple times where I just got to the point where I'd screwed it up and had to shave it off.
Yeah.
Eating?
Eating?
Is that a problem?
It
Mm-hmm.
somewhat,
Soups?
yeah. I got some soup in my beard today at Panera.
Gotcha. Hot beverages?
Hot beverages,
Yeah.
sure.
We all grew up going to church at First Baptist Cushing, and there were some pretty amazing mustaches in that church.
Yes. I know one you're gonna. I maybe think I know one you're gonna mention.
Leonard Wells?
Leonard had a good mustache, but Sid Shaw.
Sid Shaw.
Sid Shaw.
He sets on the Mount Rushmore of church mustaches.
I wish we could find a picture and put it in the show notes.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that was a great mustache.
Great mustache. I still think.
I think
Yeah,
we've lost both of those
we
men as
have.
well at
We
this point. Have we not?
I believe so.
Yeah. My favorite Sid Shaw memory wasn't Sid the one that would jingle the change in his pocket during the prayer?
Well, what I remember about
You guys
Sid
don't remember
is
that?
he was one of the men who frequently would do the prayer for the offering.
Yes.
And that's
Yes,
where
he was.
we would get what
Yeah.
has become a classic. Lord, we pray you bless the gift and the giver.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy that was probably born like 100 years too late. Like he was meant to be born like and live in the 1880s and 90s probably in like the Wild West.
Yep.
Well, yeah, both of those guys.
And it's like, but man, great men. I mean, they really were great godly guys that I know in my life, probably y'all's that have, there's memories that they helped shape and they were pretty cool. They both were. I was ordained at First Baptist Church Cushing. For those of you who don't know, I am an ordained minister of the gospel, and they were on my ordaining
I didn't
council,
know that.
both of them. And so, yeah, it was really cool. And so they're both deacons at the church, and got to ask me some really cool questions just about my faith journey and what I felt about the gospel ministry. And so, pretty cool to be asked. Growing up, kind of like around those guys, being a kid, and then being a young adult in my 20s. And then getting kind of considered a contemporary or a peer with them was pretty cool. So shout out to Super Sky Point, to Leonard Wells, Sid Shaw.
Woo! Guys, we're back. Episode number 2.
Can't believe it.
I was hoping you were going to follow up with what would have been episode 5 from Star Wars. Last week you kicked in A New Hope. What is episode 5?
This week, Podcast Strikes Back.
Okay. I like that.
Shout out to all the folks that left some comments, some 5-star reviews, a bunch of downloads. Man, that was awesome. Like, this is just kind of a fun project, and we hope that everybody continues to enjoy it and love it and listen to it and get encouraged by it and laugh along the way. Thanks and thanks and thanks and thanks. And to that person from Frankfurt, Germany that downloaded our podcast, thanks. That was a bit of a surprise.
Coming in from South America?
Yeah.
Wow.
Alaska and Belgium. So love the Belgium and their waffles.
Wait, do we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that
I don't know.
That's the case?
I don't feel like that we do. I don't know that, but
it's probably like somebody spoofing their VPN.
So,
you know what I mean?
It's probably my next door neighbor. But hey, as it stands right now, somebody from Brussels downloaded it, and I'm grateful.
I recently learned in the last year that Haagen-Dazs, I guess everyone else probably knows, the ice cream is just an American ice cream company that they were like, we need to make this sound, exotic. And so they did a great job of that. But I kind of wonder if the waffle is the same thing, Belgian waffles. I don't know.
Yeah, probably some guy in the back of the Waffle House somewhere in some little town in Texas slapped some whipped cream and some strawberries on a waffle one time and was like, yeah, this is what they do in Belgium. They call them Belgian waffles.
Well, that's a perfect segue into our featured topic tonight. which is which is Dads at Disney, and we're calling it that because Mick, you are a seasoned Disney veteran.
I have been to Disney a lot. I love it.
How many times?
I think we went 11 times. We went on an 11-year stretch where we did not miss. My youngest daughter, who just turned 14 like a month ago, had been every year of her life up until she was 12. Like she had never missed. I mean, from the time she was 1 until she was 12, she had always gone and been a part. And so, yeah, isn't that wild?
That is wild. Captain, how many times have you been to Disney?
I went to Disneyland when I was about 6 with my family, and then the only other time would be Mick. What was it? Was it 2021 summer?
21
summer.
Yep.
We went with the Hoggatts and the Staffords, and we took Eloise, and Eloise reminded me this morning that actually came up somehow. I don't know how. We were talking about Disney, and she said, "Birdie, you've been to Disney too. You were in Mommy's tummy," because remember we were pregnant with Birdie at the time, because that's when we told.
Yeah, that's totally true.
We told Eloise because we got her like a T-shirt or something that said "Big Sister" with the Disney something.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So that's my
very cool.
Yeah, just those twice.
And your mother-in-law went?
Oh yeah, my mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law went with us.
Well, you guys had a huge crew. I want to talk about that a little bit later on because that's its own thing.
What about you,
I really
Beau?
want to discuss that. I've been to Disney 3 times, Disneyland twice, at the recommendation of friend of the show, Travis Thompson. Thank you, Travis. And Disney World 1 time.
Trav.
So I'd like to compare the two perhaps a little bit later. Now, Mick, all of these for you at the same park?
All at Disney World. Now, all the parks, we would do a single day park hopped. I've been 12 times in total. One time, my wife and I went before we had kids with her parents when we were first married. That's the only time I've ever park hopped, where you bought the park hopper pass, where during a day you could go to different parks, just go from one to the other. I've only done that once. When you're a dad at Disney and you decide to park hop, that's like a logistical nightmare. Because by the time you decide to go from one spot to the next, and if you have any like stroller, bags, small army of people to move from one spot to the next, is like, okay, that's like an hour and a half to go from one spot to the next. And so we never really did that. Once our kids started going and they were younger, we didn't do that as much. We just stayed at the one park that we were at for the day. That was just easier. We would just do one park each day.
And
I love them all.
So. I'm sure you would get to this, but I want to be the one to say it. Mick's 11 years, is that what you said?
Something like, yeah, like
11 straight years. You have to understand, these were not 3-day trips. They would go for like 10 straight days.
Yeah, we'd go for 10 days.
For 2 weeks. Yeah, it was an like epic.
It was like the only vacation we would do pretty much the whole year.
Okay.
We'd kind of put all our eggs in one basket. We'd go for 10 days, stay at a really cool place, do the whole 9. I mean, and we loved it. We didn't know any other way to do it than to all in it. And so we had a great time with it. Our kids kind of grew up with it. And so I think that did help as they got older. They just kind of knew we were going to hard charge when we hit it. And so they kind of just grew up in that world. And so they were good. They were great travelers. We were blessed with that. They loved to fly. They were easy to kind of manage through going through airports and all that stuff. And so
that's
pretty cool.
That's a significant.
We were fortunate for that.
That's a significant investment of time. Let's go back a little bit. And I want to ask you, Mick, Ashley, did she grow up going to Disney? Is that kind of the genesis of?
She went, yeah, she did, because her parents, her mom, she has been, oh gosh, I'd have to guess. I mean, counting what we did, what we've done as a family, plus I think she went 2 or 3 times as a young person. So I mean, she's probably been close to like 15 times probably in her life.
Wow.
If you count what she did when she was younger, plus what we did as like young married, and then plus we did for all those years, with our kiddos. And I think we'll go back at some point. We've just kind of, our kiddos are kind of getting to the age, and they're teenagers now. They want to have some different experiences. And so we started kind of doing some different stuff the last couple of years. So.
Okay. You did not go as a child, Mick?
Nope. Never went. Went to Disneyland. I take that back. I did go to Disneyland when I was 10 with my aunt and uncle because I had some family that lived in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Disneyland for one day when I was 10 years old.
And what's your recollection of that overall? Was it positive?
It was good, but it was like, I mean, I didn't have much. I mean, Disneyland now is like vastly different than what it was in like the mid to late 80s when I went, as a 10, 11-year-old. And then, yeah, so kind of crazy. Yeah, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Captain, you went when you were 6. How about your recollection?
We went. It was fun. We went to Disneyland, and we did the whole Disneyland. I mean, there wasn't anything else there besides Disneyland at the time. But we went down to San Diego and did what's the park called? SeaWorld, but then also Universal Studios was big time.
Yeah, Universal's awesome.
Honestly, I was more psyched about Universal than anything because there was like, the Back to the Future. Or there might not have been a Back to.
Yeah.
I just loved all that.
Jones.
Oh, I got to get in Kit from Knight Rider.
Awesome.
And they had it set up where you would talk to Kit and it would talk back to you. They just obviously had someone on a microphone somewhere, but you could literally just sit there and talk to Kit, and they had to like yank me out of Kit because I just wanted to sit there and talk to Kit the whole time.
Absolutely.
Next question. So this segment is really from a dad's perspective of Disney. If you're a dad out there listening, you've never been to Disney, stay tuned. There's a lot to hear here. If you're looking for tips and tricks, there might be a little bit of that, but I think Disney is a big undertaking. It's financially big. If you want to maximize your time there, it's a lot of planning that can go into it. So maybe I kick this off by just saying what we first went to Disneyland in 2020, February. We probably brought back some of the COVID with us back to Texas, but we had a great time. And I didn't grow up going to Disney when I was a kid. I thought, I'm an adult. I don't care. I don't know that I have any desire to go, but my wife wanted to go. And I was pleasantly surprised upon walking into the park. The music from Up was playing. It's probably my favorite Disney music. There were bubbles in the air that I thought were generated. They were just already kids with bubble wands going, but it was pretty magical. I mean, I was like,
you thought this place is pure magic.
I thought it was pretty cool. Maybe I was pleasantly surprised. And so it was a great experience, so much so that within the first 10 minutes, I was like, I definitely want to do this again. Now, my understanding is, Kristopher, you may have had a different experience. Tell us more.
Well, I think Eloise was 3. Would that make sense?
Yeah, she was 3.
She just turned 3. And she's a little bit, I mean, she's kind of our cautious child so far. And she's a little slower to get used to new environments. We got in halfway through Mick and his family's trip, but the first day we got there, we didn't have planned, or you guys weren't at the park. That's what it was. It was like your off day or something.
I think so. And I think we were at the hotel.
They were at the hotel, and
just because.
And we thought, you know what? Like, we don't want to waste opportunity. Like, let's go ahead and take. So just Haley and I took Eloise to the park for like. I mean, it was actually early morning. Like, we got in like, I want to say it was like 10 a.m. And we because we just wanted to slow play it a little bit. Let's give her like a little bit of time, just with us, without the big group. And we go to Magic. Yeah. We go into Magic Kingdom, and I mean, she like 10 minutes in is having a full-on meltdown, and wants to go home. Doesn't just want to go to the hotel. Wants to literally go home.
And like she wants to get on the plane and go back.
And it wasn't like
she's
it wasn't because
going home.
We no one was scaring her. Like, it wasn't that, like, the characters weren't even like out really at that time. But I mean, she just doesn't do well with it started to rain, and she thought, oh, is there going to be a storm? She's real scared of storms. It was just a new place, new. Yeah. And so we were just like, oh God.
This is 10
Wait,
minutes on the first day.
Was this was triggered by something, or she just had one of these senses that a kid gets that this is dangerous. I should not be here now.
If you knew her very well, you would know it doesn't take much, and sometimes it doesn't take anything. But like the next day was Magic Kingdom, or no, the second day was Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And it rained again, and it was just like kind of, it was just like things weren't going well. She was in a stroller, and it was raining, and it was hot, and we thought she was going to love Animal Kingdom because we had been watching the show. She loves animals. She loves the zoo. She loved the zoo in Oklahoma City. I mean, we go to the zoo all the time, and I mean, Animal Kingdom, she was just so like, she didn't even care. Like, she didn't want to be there. She didn't care about we did the big ride on Safari. She didn't care. I mean, it was
Kilimanjaro safaris.
Yeah, and she was real into she was very into Lion King at the time, and we did the little Lion King thing, and she didn't care. I mean, she just did not want to be there. It was just too much. And like her favorite day, literally, of the entire trip was our off day where we swam at the pool at the hotel.
That's a kid vacation for you.
Yeah,
right,
it was just too much for her. She's she gets overwhelmed by a lot of people, a lot of sounds, a lot of like. She wasn't into it. If you asked her to come in right now, and her favorite memory of the trip, she says, was going on she went on I think it was Dumbo with Mickey. They rode in the same.
I have footage of it.
And she goes,
I took her on the Dumbo ride.
I don't even think she remembers it at this point. It was 3 years ago, and she was only 3. But she'll say, if you asked her today, anybody asked her, my favorite part of Disney was riding in she calls it the roller coaster with Mickey. That was sweet.
Yeah. We had fun. We took some selfies. I videotaped it. We had a good time. We were both incredibly hot and sweaty by the time we got on that stupid thing, but we had a good time doing it. That's pretty awesome.
But we had some we had some meltdowns in the room. I mean, it was just the drive from the hotel was always challenging for her because it's a little bit of a drive, and just I think if we went today, she'd love it. But
I have no doubt if you guys loaded up and went tomorrow, it'd be a totally different experience. And
Mick, how old were your girls the first time you went with them?
Well, Hallie, the first time Hallie went, she was 1, and the twins would have been 3, almost 4, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so our, all I ever know of Disney is chaos. And so, but we loved it. I mean, our life was chaotic. Like going through airport security, my wife and I joke today when we go with our family today, like with teenagers, we just like slide right through, like no big deal. When they were younger, and we'd pull up with a stroller that looked like it was like 18 feet long, and it had, because we had twins, and it was like you had to like fold everything out. Everything was 2.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and then we had Hallie, and everything was 3. Like we would I wanted to apologize to everyone in security. Like, I'm sorry that you have to be behind us right now. Because it looks like we're moving out. I know. And we're moving across country somewhere, but really just we're going on a vacation. This is what it requires for us to go somewhere for some days. There's just so much stuff, but you had to have it, and it was always like everything we would bring, I would think, oh, we don't need that. And then I'd be like, I am so glad we brought that, because we'd end up needing it for whatever reason. And so yeah. So as time progressed, as they got older, and we're able to kind of be more independent, it just got easier and easier and easier. But yeah, those first few trips, those early trips, man, it was just survival mode, man. We were just trying to get to the hotel room.
And you're doing all these You're doing all these trips with the grandparents as well, all of them?
Yeah, So actually, my wife's parents always went, which was awesome. They were a huge help. We couldn't have done it without them. There'd have been no way. And so they were incredibly helpful. We were like, hold a kid, push a stroller. Can you hold this bag? Whatever the case may be, we wouldn't have never been able to manage those trips for all those years without them going with us, or it would have been even more chaotic than what it was, even with all hands on deck.
That's a good call. I think that's a good first tip. If you're going to go to Disney with small kids, bring grandparents. We also had Stacy's parents, Steve and Shelley, with us, and same thing. If a kid was too scared to do a ride or just was not tall enough, there's someone there to let other people go. Now, Kristopher, your trip, how many days did you do with total?
Oh, Mick, you'd have to.
Y'all just were there a total of like 5 days.
5 maybe, yeah.
You did like a couple days at Disney. We did we did Universal for a day.
We did every park. So we did that first day was kind of an off day. We went to Magic Kingdom, but really didn't do anything. Then we did Animal,
Epcot.
Yep.
I don't remember what order we went.
No, I think it was. I think it was Animal Kingdom, Epcot. Then we did Universal, and then Hollywood was our last day. No, then we did.
Yeah,
then we did
because we did.
We went back to Hollywood, and then the last day was Magic Kingdom.
We went back to Magic one more time. That's right.
Which wound up honestly for us being the best day, because by the last day, like, she kind of had it together. We finally got to see.
I remember that day. Remember, really good.
We finally got to see princesses. Like that,
and we did some rides, and she was laughing and having a good time.
It did rain again that day, which was a bummer, but we got but we got to do a lot of rides and had fun. That was my favorite day.
That was a really good day. I remember that day.
We absolutely, and this is again just because of our experience, but we absolutely hated Hollywood. I mean, it was the hottest day it was awfully hot.
That was a tough day.
What month was this?
July.
We
were there for the 4th.
Late June,
because Epcot, we were at Epcot for the 4th, which was awesome.
That's right.
And then Haley's birthday is the 5th, and we went to Hollywood on the 5th. And I mean, she would say it was just miserable. I mean, we were just miserable, and a lot of that stuff was not stuff that Eloise cared about. She didn't care about Star Wars. She didn't care about any of that stuff.
That park's a tough one for little ones.
It's just all concrete. It's just a big asphalt, like.
Yeah.
There's like no way to get away from the heat really in that park. But
was this pre-frozen?
I will tell you.
No, we got
frozen.
We did see that is one thing there we did was the Frozen show.
She loved the Frozen sing-along.
She loved that. Yeah.
I have some great video of Eloise
dancing,
like head tilted back, like like full tilt on the songs. Hollywood's one of those parks that you can, if you do it right, you could probably only do like. You don't have to do like open to close at Hollywood.
Yeah.
You can probably go a little bit later in the day and go to the end, or start early and go halfway through and come back, depending on what you're into. If you're a Star Wars guy, you're going to hit, Galaxy's Edge, maybe a couple other things, and you're good. And so it just kind of depends on how you want to go about it. The Toy Story Land's awesome. So
yeah,
let's talk about some let's talk about some dadding at Disney strategies. Okay. I'll lead us down this road. So the times we've gone have been maximize time for the dollar, which means we're there pre-rope drop, and we're staying till the bitter end, and we're not leaving the park during the day. So these are long days.
We're bitter enders as well.
Okay.
We don't, because our hotel, we don't stay on property.
Same.
And so that's one of my. So we stay off property, and we always have, because we had such a good deal with this. That's a Disney Good Neighbor Hotel, and they took really good care of us. Had free transfer. They took us to the parks and picked us up. Part of our, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once we were there, we were kind of there because there was no way to. I mean, there's no shuttle running all the time to take you back, so we were kind of in it.
I have to ask you this. I mean, I didn't expect you to say that, because 10 days, three days of opening to close, I was absolutely destroyed. Like,
yeah. Now I will tell you, that's why we build in a couple of days where we're not doing any. We're just at the hotel.
I see. Okay.
We build hotel days in where we recover.
Okay.
And so I mean, further into the in the last few years, like, I had to have some recovery time, because my legs would be absolutely destroyed after like 3 or 4 days in the park, and I would need it. Like, we'd swim and eat, sleep in, kind of just recover, and just not even just. Because our hotel was a resort as well, so it had a lazy river, it had a wave pool, it had a family pool, it had all that stuff, and so we would just kind of invest there for a few days and just kind of fill the bucket back up a little bit, if you will, for the hard charge at the end. which I loved. And so, but we had to have it, or I might not have made it.
I mean, that was another one of our problems
So.
is that we were still, Ellis is still taking a nap. And so every one of these days, we basically did a half day. So we would either go in the morning with everybody else and then leave. Like Animal Kingdom, that's what we did. We like showed up in the morning with you guys, and then we left.
Yep.
When she needed to take a nap, and then other days we would wait and come later in the afternoon, like after her nap, because she was a good napper, but I mean had to be like in her place for the nap. So
yeah, she had to be in her element.
And if she didn't get her nap, it was like good luck. You've just ruined the rest of your day. So I don't know what people do that have kids that nap. I mean, that would have been.
Well, that's why a lot of people stay on property for stuff like that.
Yes,
because they can get to their hotel resort easier, and so which is probably something we probably hindsight, would have probably been a better option, but yeah, that's what a lot of people do because they can take the Disney transportation, get back to the resort really quick.
Yeah.
Do the nap thing, and then get back to the hotel or get back to the park if they want to for dinner or later on in the day.
I will tell you on this last trip, we went to Disney World in February. It was the first time I said, I got to take a break somewhere. And so I found a restaurant to sit at for like 2 hours and totally recharged my batteries. And I will mention the whole time I was in there, it was almost 2 hours. There was a young girl, maybe 4, 5, 6, that was in a stroller, and she did circles in the middle of this restaurant for 2 hours. Never stopped. No wavering. Grandma was sitting there next to her. So there's a spot to find places to rest. I saw some babies come in and out of there to nap. I guess you could do that if you want to stay in park. And I think it's wise. Yep. I mean, it really helped me, but I what is the word? Indefatigable. This little girl.
That's impressive.
2 hours.
2 straight hours.
2 hours with one leg.
That's committed.
You know what I'm talking about? She had the one leg hanging off, and she was doing circles in that stroller for 2 hours.
Oh,
incredible.
That's crazy.
That's what I remember about Disney.
So, my youngest, right? She was the one that always had to have a nap. The twins were pretty good. I mean, our twins are so resilient, and we're pretty lucky, and they've grown to be young ladies that are tough and resilient. But our youngest was one that had to have a nap, but she loves Disney. And I can remember it was the year that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train had opened, the roller coaster, and she loves that ride. And she had been on it. She's big enough to ride it. And we had ridden it once, and she wanted to ride it again, but she had fallen asleep in the stroller. And I was like, my brother-in-law, my father-in-law were like, man, she's asleep in the stroller. I was like, no, she's going to want to go. She's not going to want to miss this. And she'd been asleep for like an hour in the stroller, like just laid out, like, like sacked out. I walk over to her and I kind of tap her on the leg. And she's kind of moaning and she's asleep. It's dark. I was like, hey. I said, we're getting ready to get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I mean, she shoots up out of that stroller like a lightning bolt. She's like, let's go.
Boom.
And she just takes, from like 0 to 60, from like asleep in the stroller to let's get on that ride and let's go. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. And so, she didn't want to miss it. So
when are you guys going back?
On there.
When are you going back, man?
I don't know. I think in the next year or two, the next couple of years, we'll probably go back. We kind of been circling that conversation. The girls are kind of getting antsy to go back. They there's some new things that have kind of unfolded since we've been gone. They want to go check out, and so they're roller coaster heads and they're ride heads, and so they want to do it all, try it all, experience it all. And so and so it'll be different, going with like, last time we went. I mean, I guess the twins were 14, just turned 14, but now they're 16. They're talking being 17 or 18 next time we go. They'll be young adults basically. And so we've always been like, you can never go off on your own, but they'd be kind of technically old enough to maybe go off and do something on their own and then come back. I don't know if we'll ever allow that, but
Apple Air tags.
So, I know we have one of my twins already had because she went to London a year ago with her orchestra, so she has that with her all the time. So,
Kristopher, how about you?
I think
plans to go back.
Yeah, we want to go back. I mean, the kids love Disney stuff, and I think we want to try Disneyland with them, maybe just to do something different, maybe a little bit better weather. We struggled with the heat in July.
Yeah.
But
We've talked about if we go back at being Disneyland.
just to do
I
something
love
different.
Disneyland.
Believe it or
It's
not.
smaller. You can do both of those parks. You can do everything. I think the rides are longer. Having done that Disneyland twice and Disney World recently,
Really?
I was looking this up. So you guys want to hazard a guess at how many people go through Disney World in a year? How many visitors?
Ooh.
Oh, I can't even begin to imagine. I want to say, are you saying like all 4 parks, or like one park in particular?
This is all 4 parks. Yeah.
Oh, I would say all 4 parks in 1 year.
Yeah.
30 million people.
Kristopher, a guess?
I'm gonna go with 31 million.
The Price is Right. I think one person only
30
goes
million
through all
and
4
one.
parks.
30 million and one person.
You guys aren't going to believe this. It's almost 60 million a year.
Oh,
jeez, I wasn't even close.
21 million just Magic Kingdom.
oh my.
All right, versus go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I've been at Magic Kingdom. Well, I've been at Epcot. We were going to take the monorail back over to do the fireworks one time. This is how we first started doing 4th of July at Epcot. We were going to go back over to Magic Kingdom, and we didn't realize about the whole park capacity thing. We go to get on the monorail to go back over, and the guy's like, "Hey, you can't go back to Magic Kingdom." I was like, "Well, why not?" He goes, "They've reached capacity."
Wow.
I was like, "Are you serious?" And they're like, "Yeah." And that's how he said, "Have you ever done it here?" And I said, "No." And 4th of July stuff, I was like, "No, we hadn't." And so we stayed at Epcot, and they have a great 4th of July. So we started doing the 4th at Epcot because it's not near as crowded, because Magic Kingdom is slammed on the 4th of July.
Magic Kingdom capacity at Disney World is 100,000 guests. Now, let me go back to, if you want to hazard a guess at how many people visit Disneyland annually. So 60 million for Disney World. How about Disneyland, California?
10.
Close. It's 20. It's 20. I didn't let you guess.
That's not bad.
I'm sorry. I mean,
that's okay. I was going to come down to I was going to go to like 25, maybe 28. I knew it was going to be several million.
So again, just my theory here, and it's just an idiot's theory, is that Disney World just makes the rides a little bit shorter so they can just push more people through them.
Probably so.
Well, and those parks are a lot
did you
newer.
Quick question, Beau.
That's true.
Avengers Campus. Yes or no? Did you do the Avengers Campus? At Disneyland?
We only did
Disneyland.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, I didn't do the I don't think I did. No. At Disneyland?
Where they have at Disneyland they have the Avengers deal where they have all the characters and stuff come out. Isn't that at Disneyland? I know they have the Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Yeah, I did Spider-Man ride.
Tower of Terror.
I don't remember the Avengers area at Disneyland. I remember it at Disney World. Maybe it wasn't open yet. We went to Disneyland in maybe 2022. I don't remember it, Mick.
I'm just not for sure.
My girls would not have been into Avengers, so it's not something I would have hung around for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, how about the Cars stuff at Disneyland?
Amazing.
What's it called? Dripping Springs, whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's the best part. It's so great.
Is it really? See, I love the Cars movies. I love all that stuff. I love Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really cool. So that's one of the reasons why.
It is the most stepping into a movie that you can experience. It's fantastic.
Have you guys seen these Instagram memes? It's like here's a picture of lightning in the middle of a football game or something, and you're watching this video game. It's like watching a video of a high school football game, and you're like, "Oh crap, there's going to be lightning!" And then they just make a little Lightning McQueen graphic go by real quick. They're all over the place. They're the most. I mean, it's ridiculous and silly, but it's every time it gets me because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, really lightning at this kids soccer match? Holy crap!" And then you just see the Lightning McQueen.
It's Lightning McQueen.
You're like, got me again.
Owen Wilson
got me again.
Immortalized as Lightning McQueen, the great actor Owen Wilson. Good stuff. So tips and tricks.
Okay, tips and tricks. Let's do it. Let's go.
What do you, Beau? Give me one of your top 2 or 3 tips or tricks that you've experienced.
Tip number one. When it comes to food, pace yourself. I think at Epcot, the food was delicious. The bao buns, I don't know what was in those. It was magic. Those things were $8, $9 a piece, and I would have eaten 30 of them. But I want to send my kids to college someday, so I didn't.
So you showed restraint.
I did. So I would say pace yourself. That's my first tip. How about you, Mick?
First tip: courtesy waters. Huge. All right. Any counter service where they have a counter that you go up to order your food, whether it's a funnel cake or a hot dog, whatever the case may be, they have courtesy waters. They'll give you as many as you ask for free of charge.
Nice.
So the key is, I'm telling you, especially because we go in the summer, and it's literally, I mean, it's hotter than the devil's hell down there. I'm being real honest with you. I mean, you sweat, you get the underarm sweat, you sweat in places like it's this Florida sun is trying to get you. All right. So you got to hydrate. You got to hydrate early and often.
Smart.
Okay. Then you get 8 or 9, and then you go fill all your water bottles up. All right. Those good stainless steel, water bottles going to keep stuff cold. Fill them up. Don't go pay $6 for a Dasani. All right. Don't do that. Get the courtesy waters at the counter. Fill up all your water bottles. Keep the train moving forward. Eat a big breakfast. All right. Before you go. Okay. At your hotel. Get a good big breakfast. Snack a little bit lightly throughout the day, which goes to your food pacing. All right. And do one decent meal at a park. Don't try to do breakfast, lunch, dinner in the park. That's crazy.
Don't do that. Don't do that unless you want to.
I do. That's why we do. A breakfast was always included at our hotel. We eat a really good breakfast. All right. And then we'd make a little snack bag. We'd bring our own snacks from home. We started using Shipt and Amazon. They would send it to our hotel. All right. Ourselves. And they'd hold it for us till we got there. All right. And we'd bring it up to the room. We'd make out little snack bags for each day. Kind of snacked on that to kind of keep us going throughout the day, and then have one really nice, not outlandish, but we'd have one decent meal at some cool place or whatever so we're really just doing one meal a day in the park.
Kristopher,
so
dad tip number 1.
I mean, I'm gonna be hard pressed to give you a good tip.
Warning. Just kidding.
Do you have any dangers we need to be?
No, the Mick and this will lead into a story Mick will tell you, but he told us to take extra socks, and so we'd take extra socks with us every day.
Is that because of the rain? You don't want wet
one
socks?
time he got stuck in an undulating deluge, and
an absolute undulator. It's happened on more than one occasion, and it always seems to happen at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah,
I don't know where Animal Kingdom sets in because directions don't work well for me down there, and so I don't know where Animal Kingdom sets, but it's low wherever it sets, and it collects. It's like that whole park is a cistern, right? That just gathers water. Okay, and so it rained one time so hard, it was like a flash flood, that I had. I had to take all of my shoes and socks off. I walked around barefoot, carrying my stuff around, wet, soaked. I mean, water was 2 and 3 foot deep in certain spots, where there would be little dips in the street.
Wow.
And so I was like, "This is crazy." So I actually started bringing extra socks, or I would bring, especially when I went to Animal Kingdom, I would have my Chacos strapped to my backpack, so that when the weather was about to get weird, I'd move to the Chacos, put the shoes and socks up in my bag, have a good backpack. Having a good backpack and a poncho is absolutely crucial if you're going to go in the spring and summer months. That's the wet season in Orlando.
Yeah.
And so I'd switch to the Chacos the last half of the day, because if it rained, then it didn't matter. And so my feet were protected, but they'd get wet. It didn't mess anything up.
Now, when it rained,
I've waited.
When it rained that much, did people were leaving the park, or were people sticking around? And
oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so the hard part of the Animal Kingdom, though, is when it rains, they shut everything down because everything's outside.
Yeah, okay.
So all the animal exhibits and stuff like that, so we were kind of stuck. And so a couple times where we had to kind of ride it out. But if it clears, like a lot of times it does, we only like that last time it was just like about an hour. We just kind of hunkered down for an hour and got off our feet and just kind of chilled out. And then everything moved on, everything opened up, and then we were just like Expedition Everest. I mean, you name it. We were just getting on stuff and going because a lot of people left and didn't come back. So,
all right,
which was pretty cool.
We're going to do 3 rapid fire questions, and then we're going to move into the next segment of the show.
Let's go.
We'll start with you, Mick. Question number 1, favorite ride for yourself as a dad at Disney World?
As a dad, any park?
Any park.
Any park.
Dealer's choice.
I will tell you. Gosh, I'm kind of torn. I'm gonna go Flight of Passage, Animal Kingdom, and the Pandora, because that ride I think is one of the most like immersive, coolest experiences that, as far as a ride goes, I've ever been on. So
beautiful.
One Flight of Passage, Animal Kingdom.
Love it, Kristopher.
Well, I didn't go on many, but for me, and this is probably why this is was my favorite. Well, I can think of 2, but the one that was probably my favorite, and it's because Eloise didn't go with us, was the last thing of the day at Magic Kingdom. Haley and I were like, we have not gone on a single freaking like roller coaster. And so we said, Jan, my mother-in-law said, will you please just like take Eloise for like an hour and let us go like ride one roller coaster before we go home from this trip? And I think Mick and Ashley probably went with us, I think, and we did Space Mountain.
Oh yeah. I remember that. That was a ton
and
of
I remember
fun.
being like, oh, this is like, I love this ride because it's so old that you can tell it's like probably not even like safe anymore.
But it's
just real janky and rickety, and it's like dark, and you're just like, oh my, yeah, I enjoyed that.
And you have the sensation you are going to hit your head multiple occasions in the dark.
Yeah,
like you're going to get decapitated on this ride.
Yeah,
but somehow.
And I will say, I'm gonna take an opportunity and give my second place one, just because I didn't have a lot of positive things to say about. Sure. My second place one was the Buzz Lightyear ride, because again, Eloise might have been with us on that ride, but you get to like shoot things, and it's competitive. And I mean, I went buck wild on that thing. I was like, I think I was pretty.
It's a good one.
I think I was pretty mad at the day at that point, and they take a picture of you, and that's the only picture I have. And you can see this picture of me. You can tell I'm so dead serious about shooting these aliens on this Buzz Lightyear ride. I'm like, don't.
You were locked in.
And I beat everyone.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Those are mine. What about you, Beau?
I'm going to answer with 2 as well. Mine actually both have to do with Disney California Adventure in the Cars section. So one is Cars. Just great. It's so immersive, the ride itself. The second is, I can't remember what it's called. It's Luigi's something. It's still in Car Town. But these cars, they're kind of on a floor. The floor isn't magnetized, but the cars kind of float. And so they do a dance while you're riding them. And we did that, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
5 times. And at nighttime, it's in a big open area. So they have lights hanging over it. It's totally different experience at nighttime. It's great. It's so fun. The girls loved it. I loved it. Okay, next question, rapid fire. We'll go back to you, Kristopher. Reverse snake here. Most memorable experience, good or bad? The thing that comes to mind when you think about Disneyland, Disney World.
Epcot was I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but we had a fun day at Epcot. Even though there's you kind of just walk in a big circle and eat a lot of food and. What was that beer, Mick? It was like,
oh yeah, it was like grapefruit.
Yeah, some grapefruit beer. That's my most memorable.
It was really good in Germany.
Yeah, in Germany,
which is my favorite. Is my favorite land.
Yeah,
is Germany.
That's just what comes right off the top of my head. Epcot.
I thought I want to go to Mick, but I do want to mention this for anyone that wants to laugh at me. I thought Epcot as a park was all contained inside the ball.
Oh, so I think I used to think that too. Yeah.
I was expecting the ball to be much larger.
Right.
And it was the only place you went into the entire time you were there.
Didn't know that.
No, it's Well, I remember the first time I went, I didn't realize it was a ride. I thought it was just like just an ornamental thing as you walked in.
We were on both
And then,
both extremes of that.
and so we got there the first time, and Ash was like, "We got to get in line for this ride." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "There's a ride inside that." I was like, "There's a ride in that?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna go through the history of communication." And so, yeah. So as my
Nice.
kids refer to it, the big ball ride.
The big ball
And
ride.
so that's what my kids call it.
This is going to be a harder question for you, maybe, because you've been so many times. What is your most memorable experience, Mick?
Most memorable experience. It's kind of hard to say. I've had these lots of different like fun ones and unique ones and things like that. I will probably the most memorable one was the year we went. It was the year it was 2021, I think, maybe. No, it wasn't 2021. Maybe 2019. I can't remember. It's whatever the year that the Toy Story Land opened at Hollywood. And we knew it was going to be the grand opening was while we were there. And I had specifically picked to that park on a different day than the grand opening because I knew it was going to be ridiculous, crowded, because I had read Tom Hanks and Alan, all the cast from Toy Story was going to be there, and they were doing the big grand opening and all this other stuff. And so we were there a couple of days before that at Hollywood. And so we're going, it starts to kind of rain a little bit lightly, not real bad. And people are kind of scurrying, going inside. Some people are leaving. And I look on the app and I realize that the Toy Story, the Toy Story ride, the 3D ride, had a real short wait. I was like, hey, I said, looks like everybody's scurrying and leaving. Let's go hop on the Toy Story ride, which they had, but you went in through a different entrance back then. Now you go in through Toy Story Land, to go to that ride. So we're walking around to the back and to go hop on that ride. And I kind of noticed that everybody's turning to the left instead of going or turning to the right instead of going straight. I was like, well, that's weird. We go around the corner and they do a soft opening for everybody that was left in the park. And I got to go. So we were the first ones to go in to the Toy Story Land. They did a soft grand opening just out of nowhere without saying a word about it. And we got to ride all the rides. We got to sample food. We got to do all kinds of cool stuff inside there. The average, we went right. We didn't have zero wait. Got right on the Slinky Dog roller coaster, which is a great roller coaster, probably top 10. Cool roller coasters at Magic Kingdom or in Disney. And so and so we kind of just did all that. Did the alien saucers? Did all that? Kind of hung around for a little while, and then a couple of days later, they had the official grand opening for the whole crew. Everybody went, and it was jam packed at the park that day.
Wow, very cool.
And so
very cool.
But that's a pretty cool memory.
That is cool. I think,
we were all wearing ponchos, and it's real immersive, and all the characters inside there were telling, "Oh, look, new toys! They're still in their plastic." That's what they would say when we came walking in with your ponchos, which was pretty cool.
They're so good there. They're so good.
They know how to do it. If you like. Disney, they are smart, and they know how to like do just enough to like.
They know how to.
We had to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We had a problem with our ticket one time. It wasn't syncing right, and we had to wait, and we missed our first fast pass of the day because of it. And long story short, they ended up like giving us like two free fast passes and hooked us up. So they'll do those little things like that. just to kind of.
They'll make it right.
The whistle.
They'll make it right. They
Bonus
like to,
question. Bonus question.
Yeah.
Teacups.
Bonus.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, finally some drama, some Disney drama.
Hard no.
Yeah.
I don't spin. I don't do spinning. I don't like spinning. I didn't. The Mission Space ride that used to have at Epcot, did it twice. Both times thought I had like irreversible vertigo afterwards. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. And so, nope, spinning, I just can't do it.
Kristopher, what's your answer on that, though? You asked it.
I wouldn't wait again.
Okay.
As long as we waited for that. Sorry.
The first time, maybe second time we did the teacups, the Mad Hatter got in Lucy's teacup, and that was pretty fun.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
I think my most memorable thing was the second time we went to Disneyland. We were in the Star Wars area, and we did whatever the Rise of the Resistance. I think we ended up doing it 3 or 4 times that day. That's It's hard to get on that one. It takes a long time. And
Oh,
it broke down on us twice that day.
Oh, no.
And so they kept giving us more fast passes. And so that was fun. It was fun to see those rides with the lights on and to walk down just a regular hallway, as they escort you off of it and like, here, go here.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Okay, last question. This is super rapid fire, and then we're going to move to the next segment. You
got it.
Disney, 1 out of 10, 10 being the best thing ever, 1 being, I don't think I'll ever go back. Where would you rate it? Go.
Coach.
I am, because I'm partial, I'm giving it a 9. Only reason I don't give it a 10 is it has gotten really, really expensive. And I've got lots of theories on that, with it, COVID and cost and, being shut down for as long as they were during all of that. And so I think they're trying to recover a lot of that, but I still think it's one of the coolest places to visit, and I have a ton of fun every time I go. So I give it an 8. Well, let's say 8.5. 8.5.
Mick and I might have the same birthday, but we don't have the same affinity for theme parks. So
very true.
I'm going to say
June 1st is a magical day.
2.5, man. If I never went there again, I can think of 100 places I'd rather go.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
Kristopher, our next segment is hot take, not this one.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Save it, buddy.
Hot take.
All right.
Disney should be closed.
I love that people love it.
Okay.
You're just not in that camp.
We appreciate the honesty.
I'm not a theme park
transparency.
person.
But we have talked a little bit offline, and let me be the first to bring it up here. Potential new theme park right here in the great state of Oklahoma, the American Heartland theme park in northeastern Oklahoma.
Okay, let's talk about this for just a moment, because here's the first thought that comes to my mind when you mention
might be
this,
my hot take.
is I think that's really exciting. Clearly, it's going to be a something new for Oklahoma, jobs created. However, having been to Disney, despite Kristopher, I think you would have to admit that despite the 2.5 rating, you've been to other theme parks. You've been to Frontier City.
Yeah.
Nothing matches a Disney experience.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
so there's
it's big time.
It's the best.
I mean, it's just attention to detail, top to bottom. Right. So
100%.
Even knowing that this theme park is going to be brand new, my greatest hope for this theme park is like probably day 20, once it's been open long enough to work out some kinks, is as good as that park will ever be. And then without some standards, maybe it'll be fantastic.
Amen.
I don't know anything about American Heartland, but
You're probably right.
There's a little bit of me that from the outset I get a little bit like, but it's just, I don't know. Why even try when you've been to Disney?
I can remember one of the summers when I was still a youth pastor and we'd gone to Disney on vacation, and I came back. We always did this Six Flags trip at the end of the summer for our youth ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been to Disney that year in late June, early July, and here it is late July, early August. I'm going to Six Flags. I remember walking into Six Flags and looking around and God love you, Six Flags, but I was kind of like, this is not the same. It's just like completely different experience.
Yeah,
it's like noticeable.
Well, I don't want to poo-poo anyone's experiences. If you go to those parks and you have a blast, that's awesome. Have a great time.
That's all that matters.
Have a great time.
Yep.
All right. Let's move into our next segment.
Yep.
Hot take. It's a hot take. It's a hot take.
Hot take. This is a new segment to the show, episode 2. We're introducing something new for you guys out there and ladies. So we want to keep it fresh. We want to keep more content coming in. So we're going to go with hot take. And to kick it off,
here we go. Bathroom shamers.
Specifically,
one of my really good friends who has no...
Let's start that over, because that might come off as sounding weird.
Okay.
Hand washing chambers.
Yeah.
Bathroom hand washing.
All right, here we go.
It's like someone that just stands there in the bathroom.
I don't think there's a hot take. Don't shame people in the bathroom. The least hot take ever. No.
Yeah. Whatever ailment you have, he shames you for it. as you come in. Just
or
arbitrarily,
any number of things.
yeah, the way you walk, the way you dress, accents.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Weak stream. Have you guys seen that SNL? What's the SNL bit? It's like a drug that makes you have a stronger stream.
No, I have not.
Have you seen that?
No.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen that?
Right.
Oh my gosh!
While
Okay,
Kristopher's doing some solid research for us, let's get back to the topic, Mick. So, what do you mean by this?
Hot take. Here's the segment: hand washing shamers in restrooms. In particular, I have a friend who is very particular about when we are in a public restroom. If we've gone anywhere together, and somebody does not wash their hands after they use the restroom, on multiple occasions, he has called those people out in the like, are you not going to wash? Like, he'll ask, are you not going to wash your hands?
Total strangers.
They're walking out. And
total strangers.
They don't. Not people he knows, not anybody he has any relationship with whatsoever. He is he's just observing behavior, and he sees people not wash their hands, and his own children have been like, they talk about, like, do you know what it's like to be at the restroom of a sporting event or at a movie or whatever, and we're in there washing our hands, and somebody walks out and doesn't wash their hands, and he immediately is like, you're not going to wash your hands? And they just kind of look at him and they just walk out. He's never had any like real confrontation, but he never misses an opportunity to make sure that, hey, you really should wash your hands after you.
It's one thing to do this with an individual, but you introduced something I hadn't thought of before, which is at a sporting event. I'm thinking the Sooner Stadium. I don't know if they still have Sooner Stadium. That's not a thing. Where the Sooners play. Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium, right? They used to have in the men's room the trough. Do they still have the troughs in there?
They're still there.
The
still there.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be a moment then where he sees a group of 5 men peel off and not wash their hands? Does he stop and say, hey, the whole lot of yous, all 5 of you.
5 of yous.
filthy
animals.
Filthy men.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I've only ever seen like individual behavior. I don't know, in a group setting, I've never seen him. And it might be like that's just too daunting. I'll save this one. My story always harken to this is we went on a trip together and we were in the Las Vegas airport. We got right off the flight. We went straight to the restroom, hour and a half flight or whatever. And we were like, our wives are waiting and we're like, we're going to step in. And immediately this guy comes out. And it was the first time I had ever been with him when this had happened. I'm sitting there washing my hands and he's like right next to me. We're talking about, and this guy walks out and he kind of walks up, kind of adjusts his belt, kind of looks at himself in the mirror. And just out the door he goes. And literally he stops and just looks over and he goes, he didn't wash his hands. I'm like, oh, that's gross. I just kind of made some comment. And he's like, hey. And the guy kind of looks, he goes, you didn't wash your hands. And he just goes, huh? Like, you didn't wash your hands. He just walks out. Mike like grabs paper towel, like dries his hands off, and like follows him out into the concourse of the airport, and is like, "Dude, are you really not going to wash your hands at an airport?" And he just walked off, like joined his group. I cannot believe that my man just followed him out into busy Las Vegas airport and was like, "Why are you not washing your hands?" He's adamant about it. Why would you not wash your hands?
Do you know where this comes from?
I don't know. Know. You know, we need to have him as a guest someday. And ask him where's the.
I mean, I'm gonna argue the other side.
Like, why does it matter so much?
I mean, nowhere does it state. You know, here's my thing. Are the hand washing stations, the sinks, the soap, the towels, are those there for me or for everyone else's safety? Like, do you expect me to wash my hands so that I don't get someone? I mean, I'm kind of like, that's there for me to wash my hands from touching all your nasty. You know what I mean? That's not for.
But wouldn't that
like
be true for
everyone else?
though?
For me to be like, okay, all my hands are clean now, so I can touch y'all's faces and stuff now. Like, I'm like, yeah, but here's the argument. It's like you walk out of the bathroom and then Mike's not walking behind everybody and going, you just picked your nose, bro, wash your hand. Or you just scratched your butt, bro, wash your hand. Like, Like,
That is.
So
a hot take.
I'm sort of
That is
the
a hot take.
I'm sort of the opinion that like
It
that
does.
stuff is there for me, not for Mike. Does that make sense?
So I don't know.
Now maybe
I
the
appreciate that
health
there's
department
value
would
in that.
argue me.
I just know my man
argue
is
with me
very
on that.
serious about, and he's like, hand
I'm
sanitizer is great.
I'm just laying the other
I'm
thing.
glad that it
the other side
exists.
to that.
But he is a soap and water guy first. Like he sees the value in that.
All right, perfect. Let's wrap this one up. So, hot take: bathroom hand washing shaming. Are you for it or against it?
I would personally probably never do it because folks seem to be a little sensitive these days about literally everything.
point.
My fear would be the first time I did say
Against.
something to someone,
Mhm.
it's like a full on
Last time.
Yeah, it's a full on disaster. I'm glad that my buddy Mike is out there. I want him on that wall. I need him on that wall. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, probably not for me.
Oh yeah, no, I'm an avid hand washer, but I would never shame anyone for not washing theirs.
All right. Same. We're in one accord here. Next section.
Let's go.
Random topic generator. You guys have no prior knowledge of this topic.
Do we have theme music for this?
No, we do not.
Just want to confirm that. Not yet. Not yet. You want to do that?
Hey, boop, 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 boop.
Come on. All right. What weird or useless talent do you have?
I can hover a pee over my mouth.
I could do the same thing, and I was going to use that one.
It's a random
Oh, I'm
talent
sorry.
that
I think
you
you
both
taught-
seem to share.
That's my only one.
Who,
You've
who
surely,
showed who first?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I literally, you know where I saw you do this for the first time? No lie. Kristopher Kinzie,
Where?
Mazio's Pizza, Sunday night after church.
Yep.
Oh, lots of pea. Yeah, great peas.
Lid.
There. Yeah.
To-go lid full of peas from the salad bar.
Mm-hmm.
Commence hovering. Go.
My claim to fame for that was in middle school, doing it in the lunchroom and got the entire school started trying it, And so there were peas everywhere. And I'm not even kidding. And halfway through whatever the next period is, the vice principal, Mr. Terry Morgan, came and pulled me out of my classroom and brought me into the lunchroom and said,
wow.
you get to clean all these peas up.
Are you serious?
If you had been around
That's
in
crazy.
TikTok
Dead serious.
times, right? If TikTok had been around in those times, that would have swept the nation. No doubt about it. The Pea Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Bro, you'd be like the Ferris Bueller of TikTok. It'd be like free Kristopher.
It's actually not just peas. Like anything like small and lightweight. I can do a ping pong ball.
What else have you done? BB?
It's got to be perfectly round. That's about it.
Yep.
Too heavy.
Yeah,
too
I've
small.
only done the
Not enough.
pea and the ping pong ball, and I realized that I could hover it as well.
Yeah.
I got on the Super Summer video one time doing the hovering pea thing. Had no idea.
Oh yeah,
that I was being.
I'll
filmed.
tell you the trick. The trick with the pea is getting it started.
Once you get it,
because it takes a little bit.
Yep.
It takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of push to get it started. But if you have to you have to give it the initial kind of thrust to get started, and then pull it back all in one smooth motion and keep it going.
All about breath control. It's breath control.
It's breath control for that. Now, a ping pong ball is a little easier because it doesn't take quite as much to get it started. You just kind of be steady. But a pea, you gotta.
I didn't know this about you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you both claiming pea?
Who else?
I know. I know.
Sorry,
I must have just
even all the nights we spent at Mazio's after.
I'm trying to think what other random talent that I have.
Well, you can use that one too. I mean, we wasted.
Yeah,
2.5
I think we'll
minutes
just
or
land
more
there
on
and
that.
be like, hey,
I think there's an element
win.
of this that it's okay, of course, that you shared this trade, but let's be honest. At some point in time between the two of you, that there had to be some sort of unspoken competition, just innately, that you both probably in the course of this pushed each other to be better at keeping that pea afloat.
To be better, yeah.
So that works to your benefit.
Absolutely.
For me,
That's
it's
true.
very clear. I'm known in my house as I can remove a sticker, anything with residue, or anything that needs to be peeled. I'm your man. I'm so I'm really really good
Beau.
at this.
I love that. Is it like is it a
Mhm.
patience thing, or do you have a specific technique? Do you use any kind of solvents
No,
or
not fingernail.
scrapers, or are you just a
Depends on what
fingernail
you're
guy? Like,
removing. However, I will give some tips and tricks here for anyone.
okay,
One is
okay,
heat is really important. Hair dryer on the low setting. The
heat.
the other thing is
Was gonna
solvents.
be
You
my
want to
next
get
one.
yourself a range of 99% down to 91% isopropyl. All right. Yep. And then
Nice.
Mhm.
the main thing though is tension. I no experience with that.
What about
I'm
denatured
just
alcohol? Can it be?
no
How about
no
Goo
that
Gone? How do you
Goo
feel about Goo
Let me
Gone?
warn anyone that's listening to this. Don't use that on anything in your house ever, and maybe not even outside. That's like atomic bomb. Just keep that will ruin almost anything.
That's how you can tell a
It
real
will
sticker
From
remover,
like a
like
guy like
pro,
it'll
me
remove
who's
from like a
frustrated and
hack.
just
no,
wants
it'll
it
remove
off.
this.
He's going to slap
It'll
that
remove the sticker and
greasy
anything
stuff
else
on.
that you're putting it on. It defeats the purpose of what you're doing. So the main thing is when you're removing a sticker, you want to apply even, consistent pressure, slowly.
I will tell you, I do have a talent. I am going to circle
Okay.
back, so you might want to edit the P thing out a little bit. I am really good about finding lost things in our house.
Oh, that's a good skill.
I will
like
tell
that.
you that if something goes missing, like I'm very good at
Do you
finding
are you
stuff.
about like retracing your step? Do you try to get like?
It starts with retracing steps. I also have a weird,
Okay.
like it's kind of borderline photographic memory. I will see it and I will just not forget where it's at. So that when for whatever reason, when my kid or my wife says, "Where is X?" I'll be like, "Oh, it's right next to that."
Gotcha.
And they'll be like, "How did you know?" I was
Gotcha.
like, "I don't know why. I just remember seeing it there and it hasn't moved." My wife lost her wedding ring one time in her office. I wasn't even there when it happened. It fell off her hand accidentally. She called me. She was super upset about it. I went to her office. I stood in the middle of the room and I was like, because I'm also like, what did you do that was out of the ordinary when the last time you had it? And she was always like, well, I was like, she kind of went through her day and I was like, did anything happen when you first got here that was different than what you normally would do when you first? She goes, well, we had this person came on campus at the beginning of the day and I had to call the police about it. And I was like, where did you stand when you talked to the police? She goes, well, I stood at my desk and I was kind of leaned over looking out the window. And I kid you not, I'd been gone all day. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. I walked in, I walked over to the window and I looked down. Right between the wall and the desk was her wedding ring. It had slipped off her hand, went right between this tight little gap, and it was right there. My wife was like, "Are you like a superhero?" And I was like, "I'm just telling you that just weird. That stuff just pops into my head."
Not only are
So I'm
you
pretty
good
good
at that,
about
that's an
finding
amazing skill to have around. But that sound effect that you did, I liked that.
It is.
Whoosh, whoosh. That's good.
I love that.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, Mick, your father.
Drive down. Yep. There you go.
Remind me what he did. Was he a newspaper man? Was he?
Yes. Newspaper man. He was the
did he
editor
cover
and publisher of the Cushing Daily
some sort of
Citizen
police beat for a time?
for many years. Yeah. Well, are you talking about?
Here's the reason I
what
mentioned that is this is reminding me of a scene from one of my favorite movies, Groundhog Day, where Bill Murray has been taking piano lessons for maybe 1,000 years, who knows, and he to the piano teacher is playing for the first time ever, and she says, and you say you've never taken piano lessons before?
Yes.
And he said, well, my dad moved pianos, so I thought maybe yeah.
No, No, my dad lost stuff all the time. Like he was he could. Maybe that's why I got good at it, because I was always finding his stuff when I was a kid. He was notorious for losing stuff. He was always like, "Where are my keys? Where are my glasses? Where's my this? Where's my that?" And so maybe that's where that comes from. And so he was not a great finder of things. He was a great loser of things. And so maybe that's why I honed my skills. And then just realize that one of these days I'm going to be married and have children, and they will never know where any of their things are, ever. From the time they rise until the time they rest, they'll not know where any of their belongings are.
Well, that's a solid
maybe
dad
that's where
skill.
that comes from.
I mean, maybe top 5. Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
New segment this time. Something old, something new. Actually, an old segment this time. We're going to revisit something old that we love. We'll talk about it. Movie, TV, music, and something new that we're really digging. Can be new to you. Doesn't have to be new to the world. You good with that?
Yeah. Sounds good to me, Beau.
Let's go.
All right. Mick, why don't you kick us off?
Something old, something new. Well, let me tell you what. Something new that I've been enjoying, a new show that I have started watching recently, that I've stumbled on because I'm a bit of a history nut. Mm-hmm. It's an old event, but a new show, and it's called Manhunt on Apple Plus. And it is the assassination and then the following apprehension of John Wilkes Booth after the assassination of President Lincoln. And it's a new show that I love it. It's really good. It's mystery, conspiracy, thriller, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a new thing that's out there that I'm kind of getting into. And so it's an interesting time in American history, in the kind of a dark time in our country's life and how it kind of tried to find its way out of that. And so, that's kind of a new thing I'm into currently watching. Well, I watched the first 3 episodes. They're pretty good. So I recommend it highly. If you like history, you like mystery, check it out. Apple Plus.
You going to tie those together?
It's old and new. Happened. Okay. No, right. But I'm going to let somebody else go.
Kristopher?
Yeah, I got mine. Something old. I guess it's not that old, but tonight Eloise wanted to watch Rango. Do you guys know that
Johnny
movie?
Depp?
As
the lizard, right?
And we've watched it.
Yes.
He's he's a lizard. We've watched it a couple of times. I remember watching it when it came out, but man, definitely one of my favorite Johnny Depp roles. It's great.
He does a really.
If you haven't ever seen Rango,
I agree.
It's really it's just funny. It's funny and witty and quick and all the good stuff and great voice actors and but then the new that's got me excited was I saw the new Beetlejuice trailer. And it's cracking me up that it's called Beetlejuice.
Twice.
It's not called Beetlejuice, and I guess if you say Beetlejuice, right?
What happens if there's a third?
But it's got Jenna Ortega in it, Willem Dafoe, and then of course Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara. So I'm psyched about that.
Looking forward to it.
I was a big Beetlejuice.
Such a good movie.
Very good
fan. Yeah.
We on what are we on? New?
What about you, Beau?
Yeah, or both.
Okay, I'm going to take this a little bit different direction. I'm going to go old, and I'm going to talk about music concert. So old, you guys were there for this. I'm going to go Bartlesville, Oklahoma. The Warehouse, Caedmon's Call.
The Warehouse.
98?
Yeah.
Would have been 40 Acres tour.
Yeah, 97.
Probably. Here's a little something about that concert.
Yeah.
I have that framed, signed set list in my office.
I didn't know that
as
even
I live
existed.
and breathe.
I want a picture of that.
Cool.
Yep. So I will take a picture of it tomorrow in my office, and I'll send it to you boys. We were leaving. Who was supposed to open up for that show and didn't show? It didn't make it.
No.
Do you remember?
Was it? Oh, what a show.
Waterdeep was supposed to open that concert and didn't show. They couldn't make it. And so it just ended up being Caedmon's
Friend of the show, Don Schaffer, didn't make it.
Yep. That's what Don and Lori. But if you'll remember, all right, so this is where the old, the old memory lane, because a year later, we go to the Dove Awards.
Right.
Remember who sits in front of us at the Dove Awards? Don and stinking Lori Chaffer.
I had totally forgotten about that. They were right in front of us, and we were in nosebleeds. We were way up there.
And we were not in good seats. Not in the seats where artists should be sitting.
Back there, Mick. I will say, I don't know if it was that show. I think we saw Caedmon's at the Warehouse at least twice. there was one show where we were guild members, which means we're in the Caedmon's Call fan club, and amazing.
Yep. That's the one I had the
Christopher
set
and
list
and
from.
Todd, I don't know if you were there for that part, Mick. We were asked. We were lingering around at the beginning, hanging around at the beginning, and Cliff Young came out and asked if we wanted to come backstage and look at their guitars, which was a very, very fast yes.
I do remember that, but I did
Gotcha.
not go back there. I was doing something else.
Yeah, we were there for
We were
like
very early.
Their sound
And
check. We were like,
I don't want to
super
speak for you,
early.
Kristopher, but to me there was no other band I would have wanted to have seen their guitars backstage more than Caedmon's Call. And we were given that opportunity, just the three of us
100%.
with Cliff
Yeah.
and I think a guitar tech. And he handed us one of their callings and was like, "Yeah, you want to play this?" And I think we talked about this recently. Very much so, yes, but also in that moment,
Yeah.
froze big time. So
Like
played a G chord
froze.
and handed it right on
Like-
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even.
Cool.
I
Yep,
think I just
that's a
held
guitar.
it.
That's a guitar.
And
I've
was
seen
like,
that.
"Oh, yeah,
give
before.
it right back.
Yeah.
All right, I haven't mentioned my new yet.
Good times.
I'm
This is a
horrible
tee
at that
up.
stuff.
My new for
Give it to
concert
us.
is breaking news, September 29th.
Oh,
Yep,
September
Dallas,
29th.
Texas.
Let's go.
Weezer 30th anniversary of the Blue Album. The three of us, we're going to go. We're going to give a great report back on this podcast.
Oh, good. Beverly Hills. I'm telling you, it's going to
gotta-
be awesome.
We've got to tell some. I'm going to save all of my
good
Blue
idea.
Album
Good idea.
stories for that episode because
Anything.
I
and
mean, I
every-
can tell, and just Weezer in general.
Guys, I can
um,
honestly say, first
Same for
time
me,
I've
Mick.
seen Weezer in concert
Same for me.
is this concert. Luckily,
I'll save my Weezer.
Luckily, we're
stories
going
for-
with maybe one of the foremost experts on all things
Yes.
Weezer and or Rivers
Yes.
Cuomo, Kristopher Kinzie.
Yeah.
me or Beau.
Yeah.
Oh,
You,
me.
dog.
Yeah, maybe. I've never known as much about anything as most people know about a lot of things, but
Yeah.
But I feel like you know a lot about
Uh,
Weezer.
So that's my old
guess
and new.
I mean, yeah.
I love it. Can't wait, fellas.
I probably
I don't
like
know.
Weezer
You've seen
more,
them.
but Beau
You've seen
probably
them. I've
knows
never
more
seen. I
about
was
them
supposed to see them
easily.
when we were in
He just knows.
college. You bought tickets, Kristopher, and I got in on that. And then we got a snowstorm in Norman, and we were not able to travel down to Dallas to see them. But I still have the ticket. I think I've got it in my closet.
That's right.
I've got the physical ticket, unused.
Oh man, I
So,
forgot
I'm
about
Oh,
that.
going
wow.
to redeem that someday.
I remember that.
Didn't you go, Christopher? Didn't you go see them in like New Mexico, like Albuquerque one time, or New Mexico or something like
Let's
that?
save them.
Yeah, I mean,
Save 'em.
I can tell
Save
my
'em.
stories, or I can
Save
save
him,
them.
save him, save him.
Yeah,
I don't know why that.
I've seen him a couple times live.
Did you guys have anything else you want to add
that
to this
was
segment?
one of them. Yeah, it's got
All
No,
right.
not right now.
I like
The
the new
intro music?
music.
I knew
I
it.
like
Did
the
To
you do
this
that,
intro
segment?
music.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all Beau.
Yeah, for
Did
the
that one today.
segment.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks
That's
for
awesome,
joining us
guys.
for episode 2.
Good show. Love it, guys. Leave us a comment for the folks that downloaded episode 1. Man, we appreciate it. Stick with us. Hope you enjoy. Leave a comment. Share with your friends. Let us know what you think. What could we talk about? Give us some topic ideas. We'll talk about it. We'll give you some credit on the show. Let's go.
You'll become a friend of the show.
Yep. We appreciate you out there.
Have a great weekend or weekday, whenever you're listening to this.